let's say that you're looking back
Yeah.
to your first day at AppsFlyer, and you're talking to the old Irina. What is the three pieces of advice you would give yourself?
The first one would be when you look at procurement processes and tasks, try to automate as much as possible everything that is repetitive so that the team can focus on the true strategic work. That's one. Um, Make sure that procurement is truly embedded in the very early stages of decision making, and don't just ask your business stakeholders to inform you and call you in, but also make sure that you have weekly meetings with them so that they keep you in the back of their heads. They're not doing anything on purpose. They're not keeping you in the shadow, in the darkness on purpose. They just don't remember that they need to put that. So once you create that a norm, just put yourself in there, and then you need to proactively identify the cost saving and the efficiency opportunities. Don't just react to requests. You need to manage your stakeholders, provide market insights, and make them see the additional added value that you bring to them, and you manage them, and not just them asking you to do negotiation or something.
That's key, and I want to focus a little bit deeper on one particular stakeholder, which is finance slash in particular accounting. There's always we work with a lot of teams, obviously, and there's always this weird dynamic between procurement and accounting, which they all have very different goals, and ultimately they need each other so much, that it's a dynamic that's very special. How would you describe the dynamic that you have with accounting, and how did it sort of evolve over the last couple of years?
Yeah. So actually, starting March 1st, I'm reporting to the CFO. So now we're one family. We're not separate functions, but
Congratulations to the new boss.
yeah, yeah, for the new boss. So now we're just one group. But yeah, you're right, because you know, whenever I think about process optimization, I don't look at procurement as a silo. I always think about the full end-to-end process, because eventually I buy, they pay. It doesn't
Exactly.
stop after I buy. Someone
Exactly.
needs to pay for it, right? And if they don't pay on time and they don't process the invoices, the vendor not going to get their money. It's going to come back to me.
Exactly.
And then I'm going to
Exactly.
have to deal with that problem,
Ex-
right? So, I have to make sure that I'm not moving the problem from one hand to another, that I'm optimizing
Shifting.
my
Yeah.
stuff and shifting the problem to them, right? So the two things that I took into account was, right, the collaboration had to happen in early stages. Don't ever wait until the process is finalized. Bring finance in, like, in the very very early stages. I involved them from the very start when I created the processes for the procurement tool that I implemented. I talked to finance, I heard their pain points, and when I designed the process, my goal was also to eliminate unnecessary tasks and activities, and make their work in AP and accounts payable easier, right? And then secondly, we had a shared view on the business impact, right? Bottom line, as I said, I have to buy this stuff for my stakeholders. They need to pay for it. Eventually, you know, we need to make sure that the company, that UpsFlyer, the company that we work for, is growing, and we share the same goals. Eventually, it's not about procurement versus finance. It's just what makes more sense to the business, right? And we're just keeping it all in perspective. It's not us against them.
100%. And ultimately, it's funny you said the payment is a big bit of, zone that can come back to you if it's not handed over properly. There's also sort of the accounting, like ultimately the PO serves to book your accruals. And so, if there's a big sort of surprise that arrives, there's a very unhappy CFO. So I think it's all super connected, and that's kind of our vision, which is you can't do procurement without really thinking about finance.
Yeah.
and two-way back. So I think it's a super interesting topic